Shalom, everybody. We want to go into a little about the greatness of Pesach, in particular, the support to Pesach. We'll explain though. Let's first get to where we want to start off with. Rabbi Nachman's stories, the 13th tale of the seven beggars, the second day of the beggar who was deaf, Cheresh. Okay? In short, the story there talks about how the beggar who was deaf, he said to the couple, the young couple, I'm not really deaf. In fact, I have good hearing. I can't stand hearing, and I don't want to hear the lackings of the world. So that's why it appears that I'm deaf. I'm deaf vis-a-vis the lackings of the world. So to that I'm deaf, but I have very good hearing. And my my advantage is that I lack nothing at all. I have everything I need, and all I have is bread and water. So in this story, he proves his greatness, and that he says there was a whole country that had a good life. They were very well off, and in the middle, the center of this country, in the capital, there was a garden, and there was a gardener taking care of the garden, and this garden was so powerful that it had all the tastes of the world, all the fragrances and smells of the world, and all the colors. In other words, the vegetation there produced delicious fruit and very smelly, very positive, sweet smelling flowers, and all types of colorful plants and flowers, etc. And there was a king who wanted to damage the good life of this country. So he sent in three groups of servants, and their mission was to damage the taste, smell, and vision of this country. In the meantime, the gardener went missing also, and that's why the king was able to send in his servants to cause that destruction. Okay, and these groups of servants, they did what the cruel king ordered them to do, and that's how they were able to bring in damage to the people's good life that they had from this garden, of all the tastes that they had, and the smell and the sight. So, in short, we can't do the whole story. This beggar who wanted to help messengers who wanted to seek help to heal their country, he said to them like this: you have to locate these three groups of servants who are hiding in the country and kick them out. So what they did was they went looking, and he went to see what people were doing. So he saw a group of people gathering together, and somebody was talking, and people were cracking up and laughing. He listened closely, and they were telling very illicit and very profound, profanity type of jokes, which weren't proper to say. And then he saw that there was a lot of injustice in the country. That two people would go to court, they would argue, they would go to court, and the court would say you're right and you're wrong. And they, after leaving the court, they would get into an argument again, and they say we don't want this court, we want to do another court. And they went to the second court, and they said they ruled you're right, you're wrong, and it kept on going on until the whole country was filled with courts, and there was a lot of bribery. Okay, and then he saw also that there was a lot of immorality in the country. So he pointed out to the messengers, to clean this country, you have to get rid of who is the guys speaking the profanity, to find them, locate them, and kick them out. People who are eliciting, who are proliferating immorality, find them and kick them out. And the people who are causing all the conflicts between people, causing the going to court, locate the people causing the problems and kick them out. These are the three groups of the servants. So they located people who started the jokes, where the jokes came from. They found them, they kicked them out. And also the immorality, people who were causing the immorality, they located them and kicked them out. And also the people who were causing the problems in conflict and strife amongst neighbors, like monetary issues, finding them, kicking them out. When they cleaned the nation, the country, of these three groups of bad people, all of a sudden they said like this: could it be that crazy Meshuggah going around saying that he's the gardener, that he is really the gardener, and if he's restored, we will have restored our taste, our smell, and our sight, our vision. It will be all restored. So the beggar, he located this garden. He saw the gardener, and he said, this for sure is the true gardener. Okay? This is, in short, the story Rabbi Nachman gives on the second day of the seven beggars. Okay? What's interesting, what's a point that comes out, is the same gardener whose idea of the tzaddik. The garden is the Torah. The Torah is called the Gan because there's 53 parshiot in the Torah, like a gan, a garden, okay? And the Torah has light and smell and taste, but it's through the gardener. Through the tzaddikim, they're able to bring into us vision of spirituality, smell of spirituality, and tastes. So we have the light of fear and love of Hashem. Okay, that's the tzaddikim. But it gets darkened, it gets blackened to the extent that even the tzaddik, who's a real tzaddik, we see him as being the exact opposite. To express this idea better, Rabbi Nachman expresses it in Likutei Moran lesson 17, where he says about the Me'at Machpelah, the cave of Machpelah. It says there that Avram Avinu, he wanted to be buried there. He wanted to bury Sarah there in Parshat Chai Sarah, because when he entered the cave of Machpelah, he smelt the scent of Gan Eden. He saw the light of Gan Eden. It's the entrance to Gan Eden. That's what the Zohar says. That Me'at Machpelah in Hebron is the entrance to Gan Eden. Ephron, on the other hand, didn't see any of this. The Zohar says that he was so happy, besimcha, he was so happy to get rid of it. He was so happy to sell it to Avram Avinu. The exact same thing, the Me'at Machpelah, by Avram Avinu was pure light and holiness, and he's willing to give anything to have it. And Ephron, the exact opposite, darkness, I want to get rid of it. He was so happy to get rid of it. So Rabbi Nachman says this is how the tzaddik is. For some people, the light of the tzaddikim is darkened such that not only do they not see the light of the tzaddik, the benefit of the tzaddik, they see darkness, like in the story of the second beggar. Could it be the crazy guy going around saying he's the gardener? He's really the gardener. How come all of a sudden you see him as the gardener? Because the sense of sight, smell, and taste spiritually were blemished. What it is in reality is so mixed up, convoluted, and then turned into the exact opposite. So the person who's really the gardener, the tzaddik, they saw him as some Meshuggah and they were throwing stones at him, go away. And he's saying, but I'm the gardener, but no one believes him. They think he's some crazy guy saying, it's like someone comes along and saying, I'm Mashiach. No one knows it, but I'm Mashiach. It's a bit tricky today because anyone can say that. But you need broad shoulders to really be Mashiach, right? So this idea is what's paralleled in lesson 17. Rabbi Nachman says in lesson 17, how to heal it. How do you once again begin to see the light of the tzaddik, to taste the light of the tzaddik, to smell the light of the tzaddik? How do you connect again to the tzaddik? By giving tzedakah to the tzaddik. It's amazing. Rav Nosson points out the root word for the tzaddik and tzedakah is similar, tzaddik. Meaning, Rav Nosson writes, the true proper place of giving tzedakah is to the tzaddikim. In reality, if the world were properly giving their tzedakah to the right address, the world, Rav Nosson writes this, the world would have been rectified by now. It's just that Hashem sends all types of false causes and false reasons and false leaders and false representations of truth in the world that people choose to give their tzedakah to them. And by doing that, they don't give to the real tzaddikim. And this is what lengthens, in our sense, the galut, because people don't see the light of the tzaddikim. And because they don't see the light of the tzaddikim, like Rabbi Nachman says in lesson 17, their fear and their love of Hashem is blemished. The fear of God and the love of God is blemished. What's to fix it is to have the merit to give tzedakah to the tzaddik. This is also in the case of the story. We don't have a beggar like this who's able to locate the evil and to dismiss it and kick it out. So what we can do is what Rabbi Nachman suggests in lesson 17 of giving tzedakah to the tzaddik. The question is, how do you do that? Who's the tzaddik? In the Likutei Moran, lesson number 4, Rabbi Nachman also talks about the concept of giving tzedakah to the tzaddik and its benefits. The main commentary on, one of the main commentaries on the Likutei Moran, the Parpat LeChochma, Rav Nachman Goldstein of Cheren, he writes like this. Today, after Rabbi Nachman's passing, tzedakah can continue to be given to Rabbi Nachman. He assumes, and we assume, that Rabbi Nachman revealed these teachings about the power of giving tzedakah to the tzaddik. Then if he talks about it, then he must know what it's all about, because you can't talk about something and you're not holding at that level. So if he was describing in Likutei Moran lesson 4 and lesson 17 the greatness of giving tzedakah to a tzaddik, So most probably Rabbi Nachman was in that category of being that type of tzaddik. The question is, Rabbi Nachman's not here in the flesh. He passed away over 250 years ago. How do you give tzedakah to a tzaddik who's passed on? So again, the Cherner Rav in his commentary in lesson number 4, he says there are 3 ways to give tzedakah even today to a tzaddik who's passed on, and in this case Rabbi Nachman. He says number 1, by giving tzedakah to print and promote the teachings of the tzaddikim. Today also this includes, I guess, videos and podcasts, etc., where the teachings go spreading throughout the whole world. So you're promoting the da'at, the knowledge of the tzaddikim, and the knowledge of the tzaddikim is the essence of the tzaddikim. Their Torah teachings contains their neshama, their ruach, their nefesh. So this is the greatest way in promoting the light of the tzaddikim is through publication of books, printing teachings in books. This is how you can give to Rabbi Nachman even after his passing. Number 2, to support Torah institutions and synagogues, batei midrashot, and batei knesset that learn and daven based on the hashkafa and guidelines of Rabbi Nachman. The Breslover Hasidim till today, they have unique davening. Davening is normally slower. There's a dance every day after Shacharit and after Mariv. It's a recognized, there's can clapping. You can be comfortable in davening out loud and not feel embarrassed. Other places you might feel everyone's quiet in their davening. You might feel you're sticking out. But in the Breslov Minyan, it's encouraged and it's acceptable that a person davens loud and singing and clapping. And people understand if someone's clapping their hands. It may disturb me, but it's to remind me that I should be clapping my hands also. So there's a way in a davening, and also there's a shita. Rabbi Nachman has also his way of Torah study, of studying everything, not just Gemara and Shulchan Aruch. That's the main diet, of course, but learning also Midrash, Zohar, Tanakh, all the Sfarim Rabbi Nachman spoke about, and going through them fast as a shita, not spending too much time. So Torah institutions and synagogues that learn and daven based on the guidelines of Rabbi Nachman, supporting them is also a way how to give tzedakah to him even after his passing. Number 3, the Cherner writes there in lesson number 4, is by supporting the followers of Rabbi Nachman today. People who live by, who raise families in order to try to follow at their best the teachings and guidelines of Rabbi Nachman. The followers, they're not embarrassed and ashamed to be called Breslover Hasidim. This is how the Cherner says we can give tzedakah today to Rabbi Nachman. So what's amazing is these 3 categories he mentioned, they parallel the 3 levels tainted in the story of the beggar. We said in the story, Rabbi Nachman says in the story, that there was the taste and the smell and the vision that were given to the people through the gardener from the garden. And the evil king, which is like the Yetzer Hara, tries to blemish that. Okay? And lesson 17, he gives us a handle how to fix that by giving tzedakah to the tzaddik. So in a sense, we can innovate an insight here, in that the 3 levels of giving tzedakah parallel the sight and the smell and the taste, going from the up to down, up to bottom. Printing the books of the tzaddikim of Rabbi Nachman parallels the sight, vision, which is clarified through the tzaddikim. Because printing and hafatza, as it's called in Hebrew, is the greatest way to spread Rabbi Nachman's teachings throughout the world. And that's where you see it. You see, wow, look at these people from Indonesia and from Australia and from all over. They're buying books and they're watching classes. We can see on YouTube where the most views are or whatever. We see people all over interested, and it shows you, wow, there's an interest in Rabbi Nachman. Breslov is no longer just like it used to be in Mea Shearim or in Eastern Europe, and that's it. It's all over the world now. And when you see that, you see the interest, the feedback of people where they're purchasing books or watching classes. So you see how the light of the tzaddik is spreading on a big level. So this is the tzedakah corresponding to fixing the vision, which was tainted in the story, and which is fixed by giving tzedakah. And this type of tzedakah fixes the vision. Number 2, the smell. Smell, a scent, is an expression used when you come to a place, you come to a shul, and you don't feel comfortable there. What does a person normally say? It doesn't smell right here. It doesn't smell good here. I'm not comfortable here. There's no smell. We associate with reach. Reach gives you an emotion to feel comfortable in a synagogue or in a beit midrash, a beit knesset. You feel welcome. You feel part of the things. So it's like has a good smell here. There's a good scent here. I like it here. So with that expression, giving tzedakah towards synagogues and Torah institutions which follow Rabbi Nachman's teachings, that rectifies the idea of scent. Now, taste is an individual. Like when you connect to somebody, you say, there's an expression also in English and in Hebrew, there's a good taste. I feel a good taste with this person. I can connect to him on a personal level. He tastes well, even though you don't eat him. But the idea is taste is like an association of a personal connection. And that's on an individual basis, okay? So taste, like in the story of the beggar, is rectified by giving tzedakah to followers of the tzaddikim, in this case Rabbi Nachman, okay? Pesach comes along. Pesach, the biggest thing made noise around the world is what's called Kimcha de Pischa, giving to poor families. These are individuals before Pesach, okay? We have campaigns now to help the Breslover families. This is to rectify the ta'am, okay? The ta'am. Now, what's amazing is that in the laws of Pesach, if you learn the halacha and what we say in the Haggadah, the last thing we eat is called the afikoman. Today we don't have a korban Pesach, so instead of the korban Pesach, we have what's called the piece of matzah left behind called the afikoman. And after you eat that piece of afikoman, and also in the time of the Beit HaMikdash, after eating the korban Pesach itself, you're not allowed to eat anything else. Why? Because there's an inyan in halacha that the ta'am Pesach, the taste of the korban Pesach, should stay in your mouth. The last thing you leave before going to sleep after the Haggadah Shel Pesach, on the night of Pesach, is you have to save the ta'am Pesach. In Breslov lore, in Breslov customs, in Breslov stories of the previous generation, when the Breslover Hasidim would go to the fields and forests and wake up at midnight, before Pesach, you would hear them saying in like a tune, and it's based on a story about Rav Nosson, and they would say, "Hatimeni tam Pesach," let me taste the tam, the taste of Pesach. What's the idea? Pesach is gematria 148, right? Pe 80, Samech 60, Chet is 8. That's 148, and that's gematria Nachman. And in Breslov lore, Breslov tradition, the idea of Korban Pesach is coming close to Lekarev, to this tzaddik who's Gematria Pesach, Rabbi Nachman. Korban Pesach, to come close to the Korban to this tzaddik, Rabbi Nachman. And the Breslov would say, let me taste the ta'am of Pesach, okay? What was the story of Rav Nosson? That there was once before Pesach, a poor Breslover came complaining to Rav Nosson, I have nothing for Pesach. I have nothing. It's already a few days before Pesach. I have nothing yet. We're so poor, we didn't buy anything. Rav Nosson said to him, Al Pesach yeh, don't worry. For Pesach, you'll have. You'll have what you need, all the needs for Pesach. It'll come your way. Don't worry. The question is, Ech zochim, in Yiddish, Pesach alein. How can a person be zoche to taste the Pesach itself? And his intent was Pesach giving Gematria and Nachman. The idea of the tzaddik, to taste the light of the tzaddik. So, to what we were saying, Ta'am Pesach, Ta'am is the type of charity which refers to the taste, which refers to giving to the individuals. This is why it's such a big thing, the tzedakah of helping Breslov families before Pesach. Because the whole idea of Pesach is Ta'am, taste, which of the three levels is the lowest one, the one corresponding, of the face, lowest one, meaning tasting the individuals. And to taste the Korban Pesach, to taste this tzaddik, you need to give a tzedakah which corresponds to Ta'am. Rav Levi Yitzchak Bender, we'll finish off of this. Rav Levi Yitzchak Bender, he was one of the elders in Yerushalayim in the previous generation. He would come up to each Breslover and he would say like this, or give or receive. In other words, before Pesach, or you want to receive Kimcha de Pischa, I'll write down your name and we'll make sure to send you matzah, fruits, vegetables, fish, meat, what you need. And if you don't need, so you have to give. He would go around with a paper. He said, you need Kimcha de Pischa. The person said, no, that's okay, I'm all right. Because he'd be embarrassed to take. He said, okay, so you have to give. We said, what do you mean? He said, no, on Pesach, there's no in-between. There's no not giving and not receiving. Or you're a receiver, or you're a giver. but nothing in between. Because by Pesach, we want to activate the ta'am, the taste, the receiving and giving of the tzedakah to the families. May we be zoche, may everybody be zoche to realize, to taste Rabbi Nachman before Pesach, even though there's the tzedakah of hafatzah all year round, there's a tzedakah of supporting Torah institutions all year round. However, before Pesach, a more emphasis is made on giving tzedakah to the followers of Rabbi Nachman, the followers of Breslov. We should be zoche, all of us, to be zoche to give with an open heart and an open pocket for Pesach. If we're not a giver, then we're a receiver, but not in between. So we should be zoche to give to the right address before Pesach and taste the ta'am of Pesach. Chag kasher v'sameach.